Hello everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of musical Easter eggs in Jojo All-Star Battle R. In case you missed it, I'll leave a link to part 1 in the description. At the end of that video, I asked the viewers if they had noticed any songs that I'd missed, and boy, did they notice. Thanks to the insightful comments, I was able to discover even more Easter eggs for this awesome game. Since I wouldn't have found these Easter eggs without their help, I'll do my best to give credit to the first person who commented it in the video. I'll also do my best to explain the connections between these songs that I'm hearing. I am by no means a music expert, so hopefully I'll be able to show how these songs are connected. I'll keep the format the same as it was in the first video, and just go in order of characters' appearances from their respective parts. I also want to address that I can only show around 5 seconds of certain songs because of getting copyright claimed, but hey, that's just YouTube for you, so I'm sorry for the short comparisons, but if you want to hear more, then definitely look up the songs outside of this video. They are all worth a listen. Now, without further ado, let's get into 5 more musical Easter eggs in JoJo All-Star Battle R. Our first Easter egg for the day comes from the Cold as Ice Falcon from Hell, Part 3's Pet Shop. Pet Shop is one of the final stand users that the protagonists, namely Iggy, have to face off against in Stardust Crusaders before fighting Dio. His stand, Horus, lets him create and manipulate ice to give him the edge in his fights. All-Star Battle R portrays Pet Shop perfectly in the game, and he's one of the most annoying characters to fight against due to his flight and small hitbox. Pet Shop gets his name from the London synth-pop duo, Pet Shop Boys. Created by Neil Tennant and Chris Lowe, Pet Shop Boys have sold over 50 million records since their inception in 1981. So let's check out Pet Shop's theme, Gatekeeper of Hell. You know, for having such an ominous name, Pet Shop's theme sounds really light and pleasant. Now here's Pet Shop Boys' hit from their 3rd studio album, Always on My Mind. Both songs have a very similar opening and give off a sort of spacious and airy feel. Always on My Mind peaked at number 4 on the US Billboard's Hot 100 in 1987 and is one of Pet Shop Boys' most popular songs. Though the song has had success with the boys, it's actually a song that was originally sung by Gwen McCrae in 1972 and has been covered by many other artists including John Wesley Riles, Willie Nelson, and Elvis Presley. Thank you to that one annoying pub player who left a comment suggesting Pet Shop in the last video saying, "The intro to Pet Shop's theme is about as close as you can get to the Pet Shop Boys' Always on My Mind without getting sued." After hearing it, I can fully say, yes. Yes it is. Moving on to our number 2 entry, we actually have the first DLC character that was added to All-Star Battle R. Enter Risotto Nero. Risotto is an antagonist from Part 5 Golden Wind, and is the leader of the rival squad that is hunting down Passione. He's one of the deadliest stand users in the series thanks to the power of his brutal stand, Metallica. His stand allows him to control the iron around him, even being able to materialize metal objects like knives and scissors inside someone's body. Gruesome. Risotto's stand has a very obvious name that references the band that inspired it, being Metallica. Forming in Los Angeles, California in the early 80s, the heavy metal band has gone on to release 11 studio albums so far, with their most recent one releasing in 2023. Now let's check out Risotto's theme, I Have My Own Way. The style of Risotto's theme is heavily inspired by the type of sound that Metallica is known for, and features many heavy guitar riffs that keep you on edge during the fight. However, the part that seals the deal comes from around the 1-minute mark. Let's give it a listen. Now here's Metallica's Enter Sandman. The opening guitar riff to Enter Sandman is iconic to say the least, and is one of the most memorable Metallica openings. For this Easter egg, and really all the ones on the list, we can thank the game's composer, Chikayo Fukuda, for finding clever ways to include the inspiration for the characters into their themes. Without her, I wouldn't even be making this video. Before we move on to the next entry though, I wanted to use Risotto's theme and kinda double dip here. While Enter Sandman is the most notable reference, I did find one more to another Metallica song, though this one is more subtle. Here's the intro to Risotto's theme. here's Metallica's Battery. The timing and spacing between the guitar is a direct reference to Battery, as it includes the same sort of song structure, opening with a powerful guitar and then transitioning into the meat of the song. Big thank you to Twilight S and Wolfie310 for being the first ones to suggest Risotto. We entered him with our number 2 spot, and now it's time to exit onto our next entry. Uh-oh, we got a bow break, everyone, we got a bow break. Where do I even put this character? I don't really know, since he's not from Jojo, but somehow he's in this game. Once you know his history, however, it becomes way more clear why he's here. Bao, or Bao the Visitor, is the manga that was created by Hirohiko Araki before he went on to create JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Bao the Visitor was released in Japan in 1984, and I think that it's fair to say that Araki walked with Bao so that he could run with JoJo. His inclusion in All-Star Battle is more along the lines of a guest character, and he's the only one in the entire game. He plays more like a traditional fighting game character and has a lot of tools under his belt to get up close and personal, or to stay back in zone. But since Bao doesn't have a musical reference for his name, then what could we be focusing on? Well, let's listen to his theme and find out. Here's Bao, the Final Weapon. In my opinion, Bao has one of the best themes in the whole game. It gives off that sense of being able to overcome a great challenge, which is what you need to hear anytime you're fighting against one online. Now here's the second opening to the anime, Fist of the North Star, Tough Boy, by the band Tomcat. Big shout out to Danilo El Capo 666 for being the first one to point out the connection. Fist of the North Star is revered as an all-time classic anime and manga, and has influenced countless of works in the same genre. The main character, Kenshiro, defeats his opponents by rapidly hitting their vital weak points. And if you're a fan of JoJo and like this, then you have Fist of the North Star to thank for it. Including a reference to Fist of the North Star in a character like Bao that came out around the same time is a great way to pay respect to a work that had a big influence on several of the characters in JoJo. Whether it was at the request of Araki or Chikayo Fukuda, it still is a class act either way. Though being fantastic in its own right, much like with Bao, Fist of the North Star walked so that other similar anime and manga can run. Up next, we have one of the main Jobros from Part 6, the character who drinks a plank ton of water, Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters, or FF, much like many of the allies in the series, starts off as a villain, but then goes on to join the main characters and becomes a valuable partner. FF is interesting because rather than having a stand of her own, she is the stand itself and uses another body to maintain a more humanoid form. In All-Star Battle R, she's a strong zoner joining characters like Whole Horse and Mista, though she does have some attacks she can do at a close range if she needs to. Another obvious reference, FF gets her name from the rock band Foo Fighters, which formed in 1994 by Dave Grohl after the breakup of the band Nirvana, which Grohl played drums for. With that tiny bit of info out of the way, let's dive into FF's theme. This is Intellect. Similarly to a lot of the songs in this game, it captures the style of the type of music that the characters were inspired by. I found it a little difficult to find a connection to a Foo Fighters song until I heard this part here. Now let's listen to the hit from Foo Fighters' second album, Everlong. The way how both songs slow down and then come back into it with the paradiddle of the drums is no coincidence, especially considering how the frontman of Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl, was also the drummer for Nirvana. As I said earlier, though FF's theme shares a similar sound to many Foo Fighters songs, this drum segment provides a more direct connection between it and Everlong. I want to say thank you to MC Existence 664 who commented about the reference before even watching the last video. Now that's intellect right there for you. Now we all know about another Easter egg from this fantastic game. Rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins. Our last entry of the video comes from the newest Jojo protagonist at the time of the game's release, being Josuke from Part 8. Now I haven't read the manga for Part 8, but from what I understand is that this Josuke, similarly to the one in Part 4, resides in Morio. Unlike that Josuke, however, he suffers from memory loss and sets out to rediscover who he is with the help of some of Morio's residents. And in typical Jojo style, hijinks ensue.
You and your friends may have heard a rumor that Josuke only has one ball. This is nonsense. He has 4.
Josuke has the stand Soft and Wet, which allows him to create bubbles and slide around on the ground? I told you I know nothing about Part 8, I'm sorry. What I do know is that Josuke is a menace and has some of the coolest combos that I've seen in a fighting game. So let's move on to his theme titled, Who Am I Anyways? Now let's check out Prince's Soft and Wet. Though they stylistically sound dissimilar, the main thing that connects them is that they both share the same 3 back-to-back notes that rise in pitch. The ba-ba-ba, or soft and wet. While it isn't as in the foreground as other examples on this list, it still is a direct reference that can't be overlooked. Prince as an artist has one of the biggest influences on Jojo as a whole. Several characters get their looks and style from the famous flamboyant artist, while a couple more inherit their stand names from him, including Giorno's Golden Experience, and of course, Josuke's Soft and Wet. Thank you to Angel Basil Rodriguez Busto 2065 for recommending the final Easter egg of the video. Well, there you have it, everybody. That was 5 more musical Easter eggs in JoJo All-Star Battle R. If you know about any that I missed, be sure to leave a comment down below and share it with everyone. I know I'm always eager to find out about more Easter eggs, and if I ever make a part 3, I'll be sure to give the first person to comment it credit for sharing. Big thanks again to all the people who commented on the last video and pointed me in the right direction to make a follow-up. But hey, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to that like button and the subscribe button. Sorry, I just had to do that. Or you could also dislike it, you know, that's cool too. But whether you like, dislike, or subscribe, you don't have to do any of those things. What you do have to do is have a nice day. Thank you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.